This vibe coder had to shut down his app after going viral, while this one is making over $87,000 a month. In this video, we'll see what the first one did wrong and what you can do to avoid getting in the same situation. If you're here, you'll probably already know what vibe coding is, but in case you don't, it's a term coined by Andrej Karpathy, one of the founders of OpenAI. And in a few words, it just means forgetting about the code, letting AI take over your code base, and just basically building using a conversation rather than actually coding. This is what Leo from the first screenshot did, and he got pretty far with it until people started finding some security vulnerabilities in it. Here's a quick look at the timeline of the events that took place. March 15th, Leo posted this: "My SaaS was built with Cursor, zero handwritten code. AI is no longer just an assistant, it's also the builder. Now you can continue to whine about it or start building. PS, yes, people pay for it." That is genuinely impressive. Part of me celebrates this reality that we're in, where you can just describe an idea that you have to a machine and it can spit out like an application. But as we all know, with great power comes great responsibility. Only 2 days later, Leo posted this: "Guys, I'm under attack. Ever since I started to share how I built my SaaS using Cursor, random things are happening, maxed out usage on API keys, people bypassing the subscription, creating random shit on database. As you know, I'm not technical, so this is taking me longer than usual to figure out. For now, I will stop sharing what I do publicly on X. There are some weird people out there." This went pretty viral and people were quick to, dunk on him. And after 3 days of trying to fix it and even a lot of people volunteering to help him for free, Leo decided to eventually shut down his app. On March 20th, he posted this: "I'm shutting down my app. Cursor just keeps breaking other parts of the code. You guys were right, I shouldn't have deployed unsecured code to production. I'll just rebuild it with Bubble, a more user-friendly and secure platform for non-techies like me. I appreciate everyone for the support in the past 2 days, not quitting so easy." While I'm glad he hasn't lost hope, his situation highlights something very important here. Vibe coding is not like no code. No code tools give you building blocks that are pre-made and you can just put them together to create a decent site or app. AI tools, on the other hand, they give you raw code that is derived from all the public code that it was trained on, which, to be honest, most of it is not that great. Imagine you go to the gym and you walk directly to the free weights. Not only would your form be terrible, but the more weight you try to lift, the more risk you're putting yourself into. That's why there are machines that allow you to exercise more safely. So let's look at the second situation. Pieter Levels created a multiplayer game where you can fly around in a plane with everyone on the server. Within the first day, he had thousands of people playing at the same time. And while the first version was created by AI, his codebase was quickly getting too big for the AI to debug by itself, and he had to either manually fix them or just run the AI on small parts of the code. The reason I'm comparing Pieter to Leo here is because Pieter also suffered from an attack, and from a pretty serious one too. He was hit with a cross-site scripting attack. People could just send a script to anyone on the server. This is something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's a pretty easy thing to avoid. But after only 15 minutes, he was able to find a solution and fix it. And he was able to do that because he has been coding for over 10 years. And that's the thing. If your project is a bit more complex than just a small app that your AI can build on the first try, then vibe coding or the idea of vibe coding just starts falling apart. And the reason is that there is a gap between the complexity of the project and your skill as a programmer. Let's say you're trying to build a project of this level of complexity. If you have no programming skills, then you have to fill this entire gap with just the help of AI. But as you get better at programming and you understand the foundations and how to read docs and how to apply what you're learning, there is a much smaller gap to fill here by AI. And the more skilled developers like Pieter, they have a much smaller gap that they have to fill in order to achieve the goal that they're trying to achieve. So if you are going to vibe code, it's important to have the right expectations. So if you're a beginner and you're wondering where to start, I'm going to give you 8 steps that I think are very important. First, find an idea about something you're very passionate about. If you don't enjoy building what you're building, then you're not going to care enough to figure out how it works. 2, break down the fundamental components of your app. Usually it's broken down into front-end, back-end, database, APIs, and authentication. Start with the simplest version of each of these parts and slowly start diving deeper into each of them so that you can understand how each of them works. Obviously, use AI to help you generate some code, but don't just hit accept and move on. Read through the code, try to understand what are the steps that the AI took to build the thing that it built. Make sure to ask your AI to do security checks regularly to make sure that you're not exposing anything to the front end, you're not leaving things open for attackers to just jump in. And when you encounter bugs, and you will encounter a lot of bugs, don't just go back to Cursor and just say, hey, it's still not working, please fix it. Use these bugs as a learning opportunity. Like, go through the error code, try to figure out what is causing the issue, and see if you can fix it without just completely giving control to the AI. Gradually take more control. Your understanding of programming and your code base will grow. So gradually you want to be writing more of the code maybe, or telling the AI specifically what to do. And it's not something that you'll probably actively do, but it's something that you will notice as you learn and as you progress. You will be much more specific with the commands that you're giving the AI. And last but not least, join developer communities, especially for the tools and the languages that you're using to build your app. You can get feedback or opinions from experienced developers, and it's gonna be very important and useful for you to be surrounded by people who know what they're doing and who are experts in the field. So there's no shortcut. Like, at the end of the day, AI is really just a very, very, very fancy autocomplete. Like, it just takes the input and it predicts the next word. That's basically all it does. So if you are going to vibe code, I hope you're at least trying to do it safely.